All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go live for you right now. For some reason, I can't see myself on the live, but we're going to go and do this anyway. I really do like to see myself when I do this, but I don't know how can I say this. It's what hip hop has taught me is that you got to roll with the punches. So today's class, this is MC class part 7, and it is a very important class to me. It's a very important class to me, and this class is the art of freestyling. And the reason why I think that freestyle is important is because it really captures the art of the now. Our 6 classes before this was essentially so you can see how to write songs or write rhymes. So in this particular class, what we're going to be talking about is capturing the now. So I'm going to go into a little bit of how I do that, and what that means, and talk a little bit about how the skills come about. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about the kind of present state of things in our world, and how hip hop and freestyling kind of ties into that. What you're seeing right now in the world is an expression of people's emotions. A lot of those emotions are tied up in you have a lot of anger, you have a lot of pain, you have a lot of frustration, and you have people who want to be heard, people who want to protect themselves, you have people who want to protect their livelihood or their rights. But what you're seeing right now is the state of right now, and that's the state of being present. Now, regardless of how things work out or how they kind of perpetuate, there is a state of the feeling of now, how they're feeling at this moment. And the difference between writing rhymes and freestyle rhymes, there's a huge different school in that. And what I'm saying is written rhymes are precise. You can go back to them, you can edit them, you can commit them to memory, you can do them over and over and over again. But freestyle rhyme is very, very, very different. And let me clarify what I mean by freestyle rhymes in this instance. A lot of the OGs or the people before me, in the generations before me, refer to freestyling as a rhyme that you have written that no one has either A, heard before, or has no particular subject or no particular style. So some of the OGs or some of the people who do a lot of the work that I love and respect refer to that as freestyle. But the freestyle I'm referring to today is impromptu, off of the top freestyle rhymes. All right, so that is what I'm talking about, and what that is spiritually to me is an expression of the now, the feeling of now. And one of the 2 things that you have to do to get into that spirit of now is you have to put aside the things in the past and really just open up and be a vessel and reflect of what it is right now. So I'm gonna do a freestyle for you for a couple, maybe a minute, and I'm gonna show you some of the techniques that I do, because some people think that freestyling is impossible. It's not impossible. It's not really it's not impossible. It is it's awesome, and some of the people who do it and do it very well, and who I very much respect, are great with this. And I'm gonna go to some of those in a minute, but I'm going to play a little something. This is a beat that I made a couple days ago. Hopefully you can hear it. Now again, this This is not anything written. This is all going to be impromptu. I'm not even knowing what I'm going to say until I'm saying it. Until I say it. Voice of reason, the voice of season and time and change. The voices of pain in my name swing just like a device. Say it once, say it twice. Say the people ain't got ice. They got hellfire to pay. They got everything from yesterday and today. They got a little something on their brain, something they can't really relate to, maintain, or fly like a plane. But me, I stay focused on the point of the lacto. They don't really know I go. I keep flowing. I keep thinking of a different state of space and time. I think a different space. I got a different mind. And when you use the fire and the match and the gasoline, it explodes the scene. And I'ma tell you exactly what I mean. This is how I do. I am navy blue. I am not green. I will take this passion, take this pain, take this road. No, it's not the same. It's the road less traveled. It's not battling. It's brick by brick. It's how we time traveling. So there's a comparison to you, to all your damn squad and all of your crew. Let's sit and talk about making a change, and maybe we can go outside instead of being insane. Alright. So what I did right there was a completely improv rhyme. And a lot of the things that I was talking about in that rhyme were things that are kind of happening now. I was letting the vessels into what I was thinking about happening now. So let me tell you a little bit about some of the things that I do, or you can do, as a freestyle artist. One of the things that you can do to help you perfect or make your freestyle more interesting, or one of the things that you can do to make your freestyle more enjoyable to spectators is, before you get to freestyling, please make sure that you write a lot, because writing will help your freestyle. Okay? If you write a lot, that will help your improv. And I'll tell you this, if you read a lot, the reading will help your writing. So it's kind of a pattern. If you read a lot of things, your writing will become better. And if you write a lot more, your improv will become better. It's just a practice. For me, it's been a practice that has been very, very effective to me. So let's talk about some of the things outside of those exercises that you can do. Let's talk a little bit about the first tool that I'm going to be using, or showing you how to use. It's called a crutch. This is something that freestylers may use, improv off the top freestylers may use. And I give it a term, and I call it a crutch. Just the same way you would use a crutch to support yourself or stand up. If you were broken a leg or something like that, you use a crutch to stand up. So what I mean by crutch is a term that you can use in your freestyle performance that will allow you to give you a couple minutes to think. Now, let me tell you exactly what a crutch is. A real quick story: when I was hanging out with my man Arson, the voice of reason from Gangsta Grass, or my homie Simmer Moore, all the times I was hanging out in State College in Penn State, there was a time that I met this cat. I don't remember his name is, but he had a crutch, and every time he would rap, he would do something like this. You would hear him do like something like this. When I grab the microphone, I'ma spit it off the top of the dome. So when I grab the microphone, I keep on flowing. I grab the microphone and people don't know what I'm going, because every time I grab the microphone, I always spit. I grab the microphone, he kept going back to grab the microphone. When I grab the microphone, grab the microphone. And it was obvious that was a crutch of his. So when you're doing a freestyle performance, you don't want to necessarily have the same crutch. Now, what I have done, I have several different crutches that really hide really well in my freestyle performance. So one of the crutches that I use is, you can say your name, Mighty Flipside, or just blah, blah, blah. So you're actually saying the word and giving yourself a couple minutes to think. All right? So you're using a crutch. Oftentimes in my freestyle, I say the big. I just before I even know what I'm going to say, I just say the big, and it makes me think about something else. Or some of the crutches that I use will be they'll let me think about. No, just that one quick line gives you a kind of a second to think about that. So let me show you a couple times that I use some crutches, and you could. Now that I told you that my crutches are the big, so let me talk about, or now I'm gonna. These are lines that are kind of logged in that I spit out. But when you use those kind of crutches, they don't seem so obvious in your freestyle. So I'll go. Check out the way that I spit it. Popeye the spinach from start to the finish. Now let me think about it for a second. I got a little something in my mind to perfect this mighty flip side of reality busting. You can never say I'm coming out the cousin. It's the big gigantic way that we use it. Story of Atlantis. I'm kinda like a praying mantis, praying in the bed, laying on my mattress. It's like one of the techniques I use is I use the crutches that I use are pre-programmed words that you can just kind of throw in there to make them work. So one of the hugest techniques that I use is the conveyor belt. So originally it was the crutch, then it was the conveyor belt. All right? The conveyor belt is a concept where you're doing your performance and you have to envision the ideas coming at you, kind of like a conveyor belt. You see the idea there and it's like moving toward you. But you don't necessarily say the idea or the word or the concept as soon as you see it or think about it. You wait till it comes down the path. And if you see or have an idea that you know is coming down the path, you may want to throw a word out that rhymes with it to help you out. All right? Some of the things that people really like when I do is they like when I do a freestyle rap or freestyle performance, and they'll throw a word out and I'll incorporate that word in my freestyle. And people are like, oh, that's so cool. But what that is doing is helping me think of things to say. If I notice that someone has a tool or a word that they want me to use, I know that I'm going to use it. So what I'll do is try to think of a word that rhymes with it real quick. And then when the rhyme meets on the pattern, it sounds like, oh, that was so impressive. So it's really going to be hard for me to do it by myself. So I'm going to just pick up some random stuff and try to incorporate into my freestyle so you can see what I'm doing. So let me just bring the beat back. Alright, so I know that I'm going to use the word popcorn. Like, I know that. I already see that in my peripheral. So like I see the popcorn thing or popcorn box coming down. So what does the popcorn box make me think about? Sitting at the movies thinking I'm getting really on, thinking about eating popcorn from the way that I use it. I take this marker and write down the music. I see that the words coming out of my mouth. It rhymes with the word down south. The south is hot like the sun. I teach the truth to each and every one. So if you slow down just like the Matrix and feel like there is no replacement, from the attic and straight to the basement, you can see just where the bass went, where his face went. There is no scratching out or no replacement. As I'm thinking of these ideas and concepts, they're coming down slowly with no pretense. Knowing a lot of words will help. Picking your brain, dusting off on the shelf. Not Game Boy, playing yourself. or thinking that my life is involved with wealth, or I think about the ways in a little time. And even if I stumble or mess up on the rhyme, I keep on blowing and keep on speaking with confidence. That's how you represent. So that I was trying to literally freestyle and explain to you what I'm doing, where my mind is going as I'm doing it. So so that was the crutch, that was the conveyor belt, and I also call it the matrix, but I also call it slowing it down. A lot of times people are so eager to get the freestyle performance out that they sit right on the edge of they sit right on the edge of what they're saying. They're speaking the words as they're coming out their mouth. And I think myself, my personal self, a good freestyle performance is someone who is not saying the first thing that comes out of their mouth. The first thing they think of, they know they're going to think about it. They're going to say it, so they just store it a little bit. And what I would do is perhaps come out with a crutch to give me just a half a second to think. And if you slow it down and you're hearing the words coming out of your mouth, like I said in my freestyle, it rhymes with down south. I know that mouth and south rhyme, but how do you bring them together? Having the ability to use the crutches to kind of hide a little bit that you're thinking is part of the finesse. But if you kind of Matrix, I don't know if some of you are old enough to remember the movie Matrix, but there's a scene in the Matrix where Neo, the one, is, they're shooting bullets at him, and he's slowing down time enough that he has time to react to the bullets going by him. Kind of think of it like that, slowing your mind down a little bit. I know the music is going and the beats are going, but slow down time enough so you have some time to think. What rhymes with think? Ink. Pink. What rhymes with HD? Don't hate me. What rhymes with thoughts? Something you bought. What I'm doing right now is just putting couplets of words that rhyme together. But freestyle is nothing but that. I'm just connecting the two things that rhyme over the beat. And it's as simple as that. Don't overthink that when you are doing your freestyle performance. Slow it down a little bit and use the crutches and see the rhyme coming at you. Okay? Just slow it down a little bit in time, the way that you use your words and use your mind. Even I have something in my throat like a lump, the beat still bumps. So you notice that I'm a little bit dragging over the beat. I just seen what happened. Even when I stagger in time or think about ways that I'm doing my rhyme, that little ama is a crutch. The ama, and that pause that I take there is me thinking of the next thing. I want you to see a little bit behind the curtain of how I'm doing this. All right? So that word ama is another clutch that I use. Now ama, another crutch I use is, now just think. I use that a lot. In last class we talked about using rap hands, okay? And that's a silly subject, but when it comes to freestyling, rap hands help a lot. They help a lot. So if you can go with, I know I keep starting to beat over, cross over, just like Jehovah. Kind of wide like a Range Rover, playing games until the game says game over. Now, don't be afraid to mess up a stutter, because if you come back and smooth like butter, it could be hotter than Sierra down in Calcutta or whatever. Just don't mutter. I got lyrics that'll go on for days and weeks. The people see me like the iron sheet. even when I'm awake. I do not sleep on the beat. The flip side is so complete. You hear the birds chirp, you hear my back keep hurting, my words keep working. I do this on purpose. It's plain like dessert. Don't get your feelings hurt. So sweet like candy, fine and dandy. I'ma think about the way that I spit it down for a minute. Now please sit down. If you come across a word but you cannot rhyme, change the pace, a different place. Freestyle is so free. It's another thing you gotta see me in 3D. Even if the words don't rhyme, think about a word that can rhyme the next time. So it's all about confidence and how you hop, or maybe that you hit. Please don't stop. So if you get a pattern or keep even traveling, make sure it's not so embarrassing. If you hear yourself about to repeat the same rhyme before, take a detour or think about something else. Just don't play yourself. Alright, so I want you to, I'm going to keep doing it over and over again so you could see kind of what the pattern is. I'm very comfortable with this because there is a concept that I have called being free. When the freestylers, or some of the people that I freestyle with, some of my contemporaries that I know I love, some rappers, well, I can't freestyle, and then when I get them to freestyle, they're hanging on to the words they're spitting at the moment, and they get so nervous, they get so anxious. But if you relax and just let your mind kind of be free and just really just clear out your head, almost like do not think about it. You have to almost not think about it. You have to really be clear. And what I mean by that is being free. Try to zen out and become the nothing. Be very, very clear. Because when you are very clear, you start to hear the rhymes that you're saying. You start to see the rhymes make sense. You start to see the building start to be built. You start to hear the music in yourself. You start to listen to the crashing of the waves. Just be free, okay? Just have the concept and be free. Now, and what that is being present as well. You have to be present in the moment. Just being free and being present. Another thing that I think is a good part of freestyling too is you have to think of this is going to be perhaps the most challenging for most people, but it doesn't really have to be. You have to think about all the thoughts you've ever had. And what I mean by that is, imagine taking your conscious mind, your mind off, just taking it off for a second and putting it in a bowl or a washing machine and spinning it around really fast, spinning all your ideas out really fast, and you're spinning 100 miles an hour and just plucking idea or a memory out, like my third grade show and tell. You know, that's like a random idea, or your first kiss, or the first time you went swimming, or thinking about like how happy you were to get your dog or something like that. If you keep bouncing back to those random ideas in your life, you'll come up with a more variety of a good freestyle. Really try to expand the ideas from, you know, what it was like when you got your heart broken, or when your grandma died, or to me the happiness, the joy that I have with my son, or you know, the first time you got your tongue stuck on something frozen. Like really try to think about all the ideas that you've ever had, and just try to have your ideas spin around really fast and start plucking them out randomly. So, and the more random you are with those ideas, the more variety your freestyle will have. Okay, so let me start with again. Now, when I press the play, I really have no idea. I have no idea of what I'm going to say. I may rely on a crutch, like I was saying before, a crutch, but that is it. I really want to be honest with you all. I don't know what I'm going to say until the beat hits. So when the beat hits and I hear that bang, I start thinking at that moment, what does that remind me of? What does it remind you of? The last word I said, what does that remind you of? All right, so I'm going to try to do it again. I'm going to try to explain my process as I'm freestyling, which actually is is an interesting concept. I was like thinking about like, wow, that actually is a challenge. But let me see if I can do this again. All right. I don't know what I'm going to say next. I'm looking out my window and seeing people's tragedies. Thinking about how come that didn't happen to me, or growing in my lifeline, or putting down checks on my timeline. I guess I'm gonna go out and cast my ballot. Hold a bullet, Malcolm X. This is how I not be full of the BS. I wanna be old school like a VHS. The less think about the time, or think about the rhyme, or think about the place where I'm gonna use my lines, or using my mind everywhere that I can line on the track. If you wanna be like that, I am thinking out the vision ain't blurry. Hot like curry, hung like a jury, swing like jury. So those are what I'm saying actually before is one of the things I haven't said before. Some of the couplets that I'm using are couplets that I thought in previous freestyles. I've been doing it for so long I can pull back from those old couplets. Alright, those old couplets. Alright. So let's think. Alright, so let me try one more time to try to explain to you. My mind is clear, I don't see anything in my scope. I'm thinking about how could I coast. A vision in an ocean, vision in the skyline, vision of time that it's mine. Thinking about the nervousness that I'm getting on the microphone, speaking to the crowd, hearing my voice loud. I was a child that was very insecure till the time I went on tour. My thoughts all pure. Now how about yours? Are they full with rage and put that rage on the page? Do I feel like my people are trapped in a cage? Or is this my learning stage? I know children have to learn through discipline, and older men have to pretend that they were once children. It's like a cycle, everything is complete. I think about how can I sleep? I have a child to raise. I think about being on different life and different ways on the mic. I felt myself there about to refer back to being on stage again. I saw myself, I saw the conveyor belt, and I saw that the stage was coming down, and I said, I cut it off right there. All right. One of the last things that I wanted to talk about with freestyle rhyming is, and going back to the things that are happening in our lives now, is hip hop music has the ability to empower people, to equip them with the energy, thoughts, suggestions, roadmap to how their feelings can be. And it's one of the things that have really given me personal peace. Practicing that is a thing that keeps me kind of present. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine about how that being present is a sort of meditation. And I always thought that meditation in the past, meditation was something that was something phony, something fake, something, hippie or spacey people did, people I don't really relate to. And then when I made the connection that I am sort of being present and meditating through my freestyle rhyming, I thought that was very interesting. Completely being present in the moment and allowing myself to choose the feelings that I have, choose the feelings of strength or compassion or or feeling the energy to stand up against nonsense. And I'm hoping that you can utilize your feelings today and have the voice of you, because human beings are communal people, are communal beings. They need other people to survive. So chances are that the feelings that you have are the same feelings as someone else. Once you speak them aloud, people can identify with those feelings, and that's how communities align, feel a oneness, and that's how they feel like they are conjoined. And that's one of the reasons why I really speak highly on people in the hip hop community who have tried to utilize this music and its culture to understand that we, as a hip hop community of brotherhood, there is an understanding that we are connected, feeling at home, feeling represented. That in turn makes me feel like I am important. Okay? And until people feel like they're important, heard, recognized, they're not going to present themselves in a way that makes them feel, they're going to present themselves in a way that they want to be seen and heard, you know? So I think I'm blessed in that regard, that I feel connected to the hip hop community. And if you're a person, a human being who wants to be in this hip hop community, or takes up the challenge to contribute to the timeline of hip hop, yeah, that's it. To contribute to the timeline of hip hop, this is your token in there. Have this understanding that you're a part of the community. You should feel important. The same way the DJs or MCs will shout you out to give you some recognition, to give yourself some recognition, or to really think about yourself, or give some time to be present, is an opportunity for you to practice freestyle and find some calm. All right? So I'm going to do one more freestyle, and I'll see if I can break it down how I'm doing it at the time. All right? So alright, here we go. Looking at the ways that my life has changed a lot. Thinking about my old pop, and then how we used to go down to North Philly and play. Now I live up in Mount Everett. It's a way that we can change our topics. Change is hot in the tropics. If you want to look and see people getting changed for a different little place that they never seen before. So you gotta do something that you have never done to get the change that you see in everyone. I take the onus. I think I'm already important. That's why I'm always focused. So think about the way that you can do it. Listen to the music. Think that you can choose it or change it, rearrange it. It's not a spaceship. It's right here on Earth. There is no replacement. We only get one time. There is no mulligan to live your life again. Stop being repetitive and thinking that you cut up like a sedative or doing the pain. It's not repetitive. The words keep coming and they keep on going, so they ain't saying nothing. It's a way that we keep on pattern, looking at the way it's laughing or see what happened. Now, remember, before we go, keep practicing. Keep practicing. I want you to know these things. Freestyling or off the top improv freestyling is not written rhymes. It's very different. Very, very different thing. Treat them differently, for now at least, as a beginner. Treat them very differently. I gave you the 6 steps to how to get your written rhymes together. Practice that. Don't stop doing that. Do that. Do that. Now start thinking about freestyling and just let it rip. You're not going to be awesome at first. You're probably going to have a lot of crutches that are obvious, but keep adding crutches to your repertoire. If you have 5 crutches, maybe one day you'll have 82, and they'll be so hidden within your freestyle people can't really tell. You want to be thinking about how to have the freedom and be clear-minded and be present. Just really be clear-minded. All right. Take an opportunity to pluck into all the thoughts you've ever had, and you got to be present. All right. And I think lastly, what you got to do is really understand that this is a tool. This is a tool or a weapon to really help change other people, and that's the way that I see it. All right. So last week when I said be safe, it meant something else. Right now, I'm telling you to be safe, be important, be heard. Make sure that you do not allow nonsense to continue. But speak with love, speak with strength, and remember to always stay true, always stay tuned, and always stay on the beat. Peace.